Great and original champion of our party, Abraham Lincoln, was defeated in elections for the Senate and the House before he won the most important election of all. Lincoln ultimately prevailed, he saved our Union, and he defined our obligation as Americans for all of history.
Wyoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney there invoking Abe Lincoln, not quite comparing herself to Lincoln as she conceded the Republican nomination for Congress to Harriet Hagman last night. Hagman won the primary in a landslide, largely because of Donald Trump's endorsement and anger at Cheney in Wyoming over her participation in the January 6th committee. Trish Regan's here, world-renowned journalist, host of the Trish Regan podcast. Trish, if you watched any cable news network or looked at any newspaper, the front page of the Washington Post website was all Liz Cheney. You'd think she was the most important person in politics ever. Is that fair? Maybe in her own mind, too.
Most important person to those on the left, right? Within media circles on the left, they liked her because she represented the challenge to Trump within the party itself. The problem is she really never was able to gain enough momentum, certainly within her state, as we saw, but even within the Republican Party at large. I think that just so many things have happened, including recent events, which has encouraged people to really question the so-called status quo, right? What the FBI was doing, why the passports allegedly went missing, only to find out, no, according to mainstream media, they were actually never taken. And then we learn, of course, actually they were. So people don't have a lot of faith and trust in their institutions right now. And Liz Cheney has aligned herself with those institutions in a way that just didn't play in Peoria nor Wyoming.
Yeah, or Cheyenne. Old rule in politics, if you're comparing yourself to Abe Lincoln, you might be losing, kind of like if you're comparing someone else to Adolf Hitler. The comparisons just don't work. That said, is she right that she can play spoiler as a third-party candidate? You think about 2016, Trump versus Clinton. Trump obviously won, but both Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, the third-party candidates got far more votes than Trump won by. These are all cases where a third party, a candidate, could very easily make that difference. You think about George H.W. Bush, largely defeated by Ross Perot. The only time it's really ever worked right was Abe Lincoln, who was a third party candidate at the time.
Right. But the difference between, say, a Ross Perot and a Liz Cheney is that Ross Perot was really representing something that was fighting back against those institutions that people have grown to really dislike and not trust. And Jill Stein was doing the same thing. Bernie Sanders, right, has made that his hallmark. And so I think that that's resonated in terms of independence and other parties, people being willing to take another look at that. Her challenge, frankly, is that she's trying to run on a maybe traditional conservative model, which doesn't seem to be in play as much anymore, only because so many people have felt like they've just gotten the shaft, right, over the last couple of decades. And I think they look at political parties, whether it be the elites in the Democrat Party or the elites in the Republican Party, and they blame them. And so she's part of that. And so that's going to be really, really hard. But, look, I don't think that she can get to first base in terms of the Republican Party with that primary. Does she run on her own, Leland? If so, that could be problematic, frankly, for the Democrats.
It's an interesting point because she's most popular, right, among Democrats who love to have a Republican friend to say, hey, we don't hate Republicans, we just hate Trump. At the same time, you make a great point that she doesn't really speak for anybody, right? There's not a big wing of the Republican Party that hates Trump viscerally. There's some who wish him gone, but maybe not hate him. You think about how vocal she has been about Trump and how angry. You almost wonder whether it's personal, right? Donald Trump attacked Bush 41, Bush 43, Jeb Bush, went after her father in some really unpleasant ways after Dick Cheney. How much of this is personal? How much do you think it's political?
I think a lot of it is personal. And hey, maybe she totally believes in what she's doing. She has said it is her mission to make sure that he's never in office again. And she's going to do everything she can to accomplish that. The problem is then all you are is standing against Trump as opposed to standing for something. I mean, this is what politicians need to understand. We need elections where Americans are going and they're voting for something because they believe in the platform that candidate is pushing. And right now, the only platform she's got, Leland, and I just don't see it as being successful, is not Trump.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going to run on. What about the economy?
Yeah.
What about
is she
foreign
running for
affairs situation? What about the border? What about education? Yeah. I mean, what about social issues? Where is she on all that? All she's telling us is she doesn't like Trump.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. You sort of wonder whether she's running for office and setting herself up to run in 2024, or she's setting herself up for a CNN contributorship. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. Hey, it's great to see you as always, Trish.
Great to see you too, Leland.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.